Welcome back to another episode of your Did You Have Some News? As always, I'm Wade Teamer. Market prices are in a stage of recovery right now. Bitcoin at time of recording is coming in at around 37K. Our next potential point of resistance sits at around 40,000. Taking a quick glance at the chart, the weekly is our best setup. On the weekly, we've actually bottomed out and we are now snug against that bottom band. This, of course, is a very good sign, guys. The daily charts indicate that we are headed in the right direction as well. But it is here that you can see where our resistance is, judging by the moving average indicated by the red line there. But it's the monthly outlook that might be even more interesting, guys. We can see contact was made with that moving average. With this action taking place so close to the end of the month, there's the push of the weekly and the monthly close converging. It's rare to have a setup like this, but oftentimes you'll see that the charts indicate a major event is on the horizon. So, what could that event be? Well, in the short term, we have the Federal Open Markets Committee meeting that will conclude tomorrow, which usually sets the landscape financially for the year. But we also have external factors that are influencing the markets right now. Of course, we have tensions with Russia, both geopolitically and financially. Last week, the Russian government announced that it would attempt to ban crypto and crypto mining. But now the Russian technocrats are moving on the Russian government on this proposed ban. What's so crazy about this story is that it shows just how much governments control their policies. And it also shows what billions in tech dollars can really do. Now, one of the biggest players objecting the ban is the head of Telegram, Pavel Durov. And it makes total sense because Telegram too is hitting the market with their own blockchain in the coming months. Now, make sure you stick around for this whole episode because at the end, I have a clip of how the Russian and Ukraine tensions could have a drastic effect on market activity. This situation is literally in limbo right now, but more details will be revealed in that clip. On a lighter note, let's talk sports and Polkadot. It appears that Polkadot has caught the eye of FC Barcelona. The story goes the previous sponsorship deal with Rakuten is reaching its conclusion in July. This means that the football club is looking for a new partnership. Right now, Polkadot is at the top of that list, as long as they can beat Spotify. Now, my personal opinion on this is that Spotify will not get this deal. They have no reason to. FC Barcelona already has fan tokens on Chile's Socios platform and Crypto.com's Kronos chain, and they're already expanding their fan experience to include NFTs as tickets and other memorabilia. On top of this, FIFA itself is under a new digital initiative, so I'm seeing Polkadot as the clear winner for this one in July. Our next story, we're going to spin the globe a little bit. We are only weeks away from the 2022 Beijing Olympics. Now, I only like to watch the opening ceremony, but this year I'll be watching a little bit more closely because China is looking to distribute this digital yuan from this event. This, of course, has created a ripple effect. South Korea has completed its trial run of its CBDC. According to the South Korean Herald, they have successfully completed issuance and distribution testing for phase one of their CBDC. Now they're in phase two, and they say that it's working smoothly. So the question is now, when will they launch? Well, according to the Bank of Korea, they would only make a decision after the end of phase two, which is in June of this year. Phase two will consist of studying use cases for CBDCs and privacy practices. Now, another thing that needs to be mentioned here is that there is another country in the East that is just as powerful as China and Korea, and that's Japan. This is something that I covered on this channel literally ages ago. Japan has been working on their CBDC just as long as China has, and here is a very likely scenario. China has one being distributed globally starting next month. Korea looks primed to do the same before the year is over. Japan will follow suit. This will mean that the Asian market is going to be completely digitized by no later than 2024. Of course, only time will tell, guys, but this is how the dollar can lose dominance by being the last to evolve. Bringing our attention back stateside, we have Grayscale's new Power 25, YouTube, McDonald's, and Meta AI. This part of the episode is where it gets juicy. Starting with Meta and the announcement of their supercomputer, which is set to be ready by the summertime. Now, we're about to go into the future for a few seconds, but what we're looking at here is Meta's Singularity program. The emergence of the metaverse brought along with it the need for a massive amount of data to be on tap for anyone looking to build or interact with the metaverse. This would explain why their AI division is building this. Meta has a global reach and a global influence. Now they're going to pull all that data to create the biggest interoperable metaverse humanity has ever seen. But here's the kicker. A week ago, I followed up on a rumor that turned into the episode on the Oasis network and the Rose token. This same network, back in November, signed a deal with Meta's artificial intelligent division for computing artificially intelligent computer applications. What's even crazier than that, though, is that now Grayscale has added them to their radar, which leads us perfectly into our next story. Grayscale has created a new section for their portfolio. They call it the assets under consideration category. Let's take a look at this list. Now, they designed this with the purpose of highlighting potential future investment products that would be added to their larger investment family. Now, as we can see here, this is the list that they already have. They recently added AMP at the top of the year, and we know why. But the assets under consideration, they got me a little bit too excited, guys. For starters, we have Algorand, Oasis, Elron, IOTA, and Engine Coin. And then there's Gala Games, Tezos, Polkadot, Polygon, Dapper Labs. And then when I saw this one, V Chain, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I got excited for a couple reasons. For one, it's the largest asset manager in the world, and they're looking the same direction that we are. Secondly, they're backed by the DCG or the Digital Currency Group, who basically run this whole show. Needless to say, guys, this list has significance, and I would not be surprised if these were some of the top performing assets by the end of the year. Now, something else that was very, very significant that probably everybody just took as a troll, or as the headline says, McDonald's jumping on the meme wagon. You've probably heard this story. McDonald's was on Twitter yesterday evening, acting a fool. But I watched these tweets as they came out, guys, and they instantly struck me as odd. Very odd. So I kissed my wife, grabbed my shovel, and I started digging. July 18th, 2019, McDonald's, Nestle, and Virgin Media joined forces on a blockchain based advertising pilot. Now, this pilot was hosted by the Joint Industry Committee for Web Standards and a UK cross industry body to optimize digital advertising. They did this along with a company by the name of Fiducia, a London based tech company. The program evaluated the application of blockchain or DLT in the digital advertising space. The ultimate goal of this blockchain project was to provide end to end supply chain transparency and clarity around advertising cost. They ended by saying that it's likely that more participants, including publishers and tech vendors, will join this program as well. Boy, did they ever. September 7th, 2020, TAG announces successful completion of DLT pilot. Participants include Nestle, McDonald's, and Virgin Media, along with Unilever and Johnson & Johnson, which in and of itself is a whole nother situation. Basically, though, what I'm saying here, guys, is that this was not just Mickey D's jumping on a bandwagon. They did this because something very big is coming. We're not talking about that damn McRib sandwich. Next up, YouTube is considering adding NFTs to the platform. As a YouTuber, I'm going to tell you guys right now, they're going to do this. I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to do this. It all ties into the digital identity phase that's coming at the end of the year. Again, It's time to pull out that checklist. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and now YouTube are using non fungible technology. Here's what's even funnier about that, though. First, it will be added as a monetization feature, which means that content creators will now be allowed to sell NFTs. Secondly, you guys know who runs the whole back end for YouTube? Google, from the user and the creator side. So when I saw this headline this morning, I knew what was going on. And another thing to keep in mind, too, referencing our last story, is that YouTube's biggest revenue generator is advertising. It's going to be a hell of a year, guys. Now, before we get out of here, guys, we are going to double back to the Fed preview because the contents of this one actually paint a pretty interesting picture. The short of it is this: higher interest rates could increase demand for the dollar. This could in turn potentially translate into higher demand for dollar pegged cryptos. Now, right away, I'm thinking Terra Luna and maybe every coin on the USDC network. But here's one that joined the stablecoin conversation more recently. VeChain started the year by announcing their stablecoin, one that we know is cleared in the US because one of its custodians is based here. Grayscale just added them too.
All right, David Nicholas joins us this morning right before the market opens. All right, David, what are you telling your clients to do right now?
Well, Stuart, we're telling them, obviously, the volatility is not over. We are telling them, look, if you're looking to buy, don't use all of your dry powder in one day. So we think that the next few weeks could really be some, if you look at where the VIX is today, volatility is not going away. So there's going to be buying opportunities. We bought a little bit on Friday. We bought a little bit yesterday. Still have about 10% dry powder. We will be buying on dips. So the worst thing I can tell you, we had clients calling in yesterday saying, David, please sell. I want to get out of the market. And we pleaded with our clients and look, we'll do it, but we don't advise selling in these large down days like this because, we did see that big turnaround yesterday, but these are the times you want to be buying. As painful as it is, as hard as it is, you've got to buy because you've got to remember we're owning companies today that we want to be owning 5 or 10 years from now. Okay. So these are the moments we want to be buying.
All right, a specific question on the situation in Ukraine and Russia and America. What happens to the stock market if Russia does invade Ukraine?
Yeah, geopolitical risk is the risk that we would put into our systematic or our black swan risk. Certainly, that's going to put pressure on the market, Stuart. But here's where I would draw the line. If U.S. troops stay out of combat with Russia,
and they will,
the markets can absorb this, and we'll be okay. If there's any altercation with U.S. troops, it's going to spell trouble.
Okay, understood. But the Russians walk across the Ukrainian border, they invade. Does the market immediately sell off big time? I mean, big time.
No question. I mean, you'll see a 10 to 12% pullback, I think, in a situation where Russia invades. And we got to be prepared for that, right? And we could see that. So investors have to understand that geopolitical risk is a risk on top of the Feds, on top of interest rates, that is now added to this market. So we got to be vigilant.
What do you make of the Microsoft earnings report that's coming out this afternoon? I mean, if they disappoint, this whole market looks really shaky, doesn't it?
Excellent point. So if I can correlate it to IBM, we saw IBM report yesterday, really good earnings. What happens to IBM? Look at the stock this morning, we're up. I think Microsoft will follow that, Stuart. So if Microsoft reports well, I think that'll provide some support for the market. If Microsoft fails and cannot give us good earnings on their software, on their top line growth, it's not good. And I think we're going to continue to see selling pressure in tech. So goes Microsoft today. So goes the rest of the tech market for the week.
But you would not tell any of your clients to sell today, or you didn't tell them to sell yesterday. It's like that thing, don't try to catch a falling knife. Is that it?
If I can give you the Warren Buffett quote, what Warren Buffett says, Stuart, if you're not willing to own a stock for 10 years, don't even think about owning it for 10 minutes. So our clients know money in the market today is money we're using 10 years from now. The money I need this year for my expenses, for my retirement, that's coming from other sources out of the market. So we're buying.
Found value in this video? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this information with friends and family. If you're new to crypto, I have links to the most notable exchanges in the description. Using the links below supports the channel and comes with special bonuses for members of our network. For more information on the new economy, check out the playlist related to this episode on the right and our most recent episode on the left. As always, have a great day, have a prosperous day. Most importantly, We making this money. I'll see y'all in the next one.